we doing, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Talking to Mod. Now, today's guest is a man well known for taking some of the most iconic pictures of bands going. Not only that, he's a lovely fella and he's a good friend of mine. Today's guest is Derek D'Souza. How are you, mate?
I'm good. Nice to see you.
You know, that was a good little intro, to be fair. Normally, I just say something.
Yeah, it was better than I expected.
Yeah, listen, credit when it's due, mate.
To be fair, my hopes weren't high, but it was better than I expected.
Anyway, thanks for coming on. Next week's guest is... No, Dale, I've known you for years, mate. But it's one of them, wherever we meet again, we just pick up where we left off. Do you know what I mean? Like,
that's a sign of friendship.
Because I haven't seen you for... I think we were talking about it out there.
10 minutes?
Yeah,
it's quite a few years. It must be definitely a few years.
As a comedian as well. It is. I think the last time I saw you was either at the DMAs. It probably would have been the DMAs, Kentish Town.
Yeah, that was a few years ago as well.
That was, mate. Is that the first time you've ever took photos of them?
No, I'd photographed them in Portsmouth a week before. Yeah, funnily enough, because it went really well. I managed to get a pass for the next gig.
What's a band?
Brilliant.
Probably one of my favourite. Like, I don't get too excited about new up and coming bands. When I heard the DMAs, blew me away because I never heard anything loud. A lot of people could say, "Oh, but there's bits of like you can hear the influences from the Stone Roses, there's a bit of that." But for me, I just thought they were incredible. Yeah,
I really liked them. I haven't seen them since, unfortunately, but I would go see them again, definitely.
Saw them at Brixton. Was that on that tour? No, wouldn't have been, would it? If they'd done Kentish Town, I think it was the year after they done Brixton, and they released a live album of that show as well.
Oh right, I'll have to check it out.
But I can't remember the songs. It's obviously half cut, so I bought the vinyl, and I was like, I don't remember that. I don't remember that. So, you know, thank God for vinyls, eh?
Yeah,
but
definitely.
You're a man who, as I say, you love to go to gigs if you're not at home with your dog, which Lennon?
Yes, that's
you're a big
right.
dog lover now, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're often at gigs taking photos and everything, so...
I love it.
How did your passion for photography start, mate?
I remember when I always liked taking pictures if I could, but back when I was a kid, family didn't have a camera, which obviously makes it really difficult, but it's expensive as well, so back then, but I remember when I was 13, we went on a family holiday to India, and my parents bought a camera for that. They saved up for ages to buy this camera for the trip, just like a basic camera, but it was still expensive back then.
Is it like a Polaroid one? Or?
No, it was like 35mm film.
Okay.
But any chance on that holiday to take pictures, I would. Obviously, couldn't take loads. I still kept the camera. Well, I've kept the camera all these years later on, you know. But yeah, I just always wanted to take pictures, but it was because it was expensive. And then when I was, I think 19, I was working, but I was studying. And my dad said, if you pass your exams, I'll buy you a camera. So we were on holiday in Guernsey, and I got my results through. And he bought me this camera, which he swore was a Nikon, but it wasn't. But there was basically two choices in this shop. One was this Russian Zenith, which weighed a ton and didn't look very cool. And this other little Japanese camera, just like a basic camera with a 50mm lens. And so I got that and then started taking pictures and got into it. I think within a couple of years, I'd bought a better camera. And plus I was going to gigs then. Some like sort of 77 onwards, I was going to gigs. I was working in town. Then I thought, hey, why don't you combine the two? How hard can it be? And it turns out it's a lot harder than I thought. And I remember the first ever gig that I took pictures was the Jam, Setting Sun's Tour, Rainbow, 3rd December, 1979. December or November? Anyway, 1979. And I snuck my camera in. And I stayed, I was quite far, not far back, probably like 30 rows back from the front, because I thought it won't get caught by security. And the photos were rubbish. I think I got one barely, not even a decent one of Rick and one of Bruce. Couldn't get pulled because he was on the other side. It was really dark. So you either give up, or you try and find a way. So I just persisted with it and carried on. And I just got into it. And
for Setting Suns, by the way, my favourite ever album. Like out of any album going,
okay,
I always say Setting Suns.
Sound Effects would be mine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean...
And then Setting Suns and All My Cons is just too hard to call.
Setting Suns and The Gift for me.
Yeah, I love a lot of people don't always like The Gift.
No, but
I think it's a great album.
Controversial.
Great opening. Happy Together, brilliant track.
You know Circus?
Yeah.
I used to walk onto that. Just I don't know why. Obviously I know they used to do it as well sometimes.
From the Jam do it, don't they? Yeah.
And I just love it. And I remember when I did a tour, that was the song I walked out to all the time because I just loved it, and it showed, you know, if someone's walking on to that, you go, hang about, you know what you're in for.
Yeah.
You know that they've got a good taste in music. But before we go into taking, you know, your as I said, you've took some fantastic photos along the way, and we've mentioned the ones you took of me as well.
Yeah, well, I thought that's what you meant, but yeah.
But I want to know what it was like for as you know, the Jam mean a hell of a lot to me. They're my favourite band. It's the reason I got my hair like this. The reason I call myself a mod. What were them gigs like? Because I've never experienced. I mean, the closest thing I ever got, obviously, I've seen Weller so many times, and then I've seen From the Jam. But I mean, what was it like back in the day, seeing the Jam doing their thing?
It was an experience. I would say. I don't think I saw them 57 times.
How many?
57.
You still got the tickets?
I've got some of them.
Have you?
Some of the stubs. Unfortunately, some might be in your shirt pocket or your trouser pocket.
Oh, and then you wash.
Yeah, well, sweated through the gig and washed. So yeah, a few got lost, but the gigs were just incredible. I say I never see a bad one, but they could be violent. Well, they were violent sometimes. And I remember before they went on, you could feel like, I don't think I've ever experienced it with another gig. Yeah, just tension in the room, tension as in anticipation of what was to come, but also tension as in like violence. You could feel that it could kick off at any moment. You'd see fights breaking out at gigs in the audience.
Was it a lot of football fans? Like, was it always a football? Do you know what I mean?
It wasn't, but I remember one time it was. I remember when I see him at Stafford Bingley Hall, and normally they used to let people in for the sound check. It's like basically to have cattle shows at this place, massive outdoor place. Like, well, no, so the gig was inside, but it's out in a field somewhere. This like great big barn, and at one point the band came back on. I don't know, but some people started singing the theme from Match of the Day theme, and then Bruce started singing it. And then everyone started singing it in the place, but it was lots of different factions there. There was fights breaking out. It was so long before the gig started, waiting inside this place. And I remember at some points it was you could either sing along or you could just choose to breathe, because you couldn't do both because it was just too much going on. But there was definitely a lot of violence at the gigs, and which is, I don't understand why that was. But
favourite Jam gig?
God.
57 times?
Yeah.
57.
I'd have to say one of my favourites, because it was slightly different, was going to see him in Amsterdam. So, and I reckon 85% of the crowd had come over from England.
Serious?
Yeah, because it was just everyone to come over. And then I remember we went to the sound check, and one of the security guys remembered me for doing stuff before. He said, "Oh, you better go in." So I just walked in with my mate.
Didn't even have a ticket, did you?
No, we had a ticket for the gig. In fact, we booked our own, because it was Me Gould was a company used to book travel. You get a train coach, a ferry, whatever it was. Yeah. We booked our own accommodation and travel. We just booked the tickets through them because I wanted to stay over the weekend in the town. So anyway, went for the sound check and we went back for the gig. But there were so many people from England. But I remember during the gig, somebody punched me in the face. I didn't see where it came from. I went down on the floor. This Dutch guy pulled me back up and just carry on. And
were they moshing?
Yeah, it was just, yeah.
Oh, so it wasn't intentional?
Oh, no, this was somebody, it was a cheap shot.
Really?
Somebody, sucker punched me, definitely. But this Dutch guy dragged me back up. But I remember leaving at the end of the gig, because then everyone was getting on coaches. Me and my mate weren't, and there was loads of skinheads outside. There was fighting outside. They were, looking for people.
Yeah.
But we managed to get away from there all right. That was, I think, because it was being in a different country and that different kind of excitement, and seeing all the English, like not England, fans from England or from Britain in the town beforehand, going out drinking with them, and it was brilliant. It's just so many good ones.
Was you at the last gig?
I was, but I couldn't get a ticket, so it wasn't like I couldn't ring anybody or get hold of anybody. I could have rung the Wellers, but I didn't want to do that. So I thought I can't miss this gig. It's my favourite band. It's the last gig. I've got to be in there. If you go to, it was at the Brighton Centre. Yes. 11th, is it 11th of December?
I think it was,
1982. 11th of December. Yes, it was. And I didn't know this before, but if you go, I've worked it out later. If you go at the back of the Brighton Centre, there's a bit where to load in.
That's it.
So we climbed up the wall, and we found ourselves, I think it was about 20 of us, in the bit was basically like a small loading bay. But when I remember opening the door, and it was the backstage, because you could see, like, say to the right of the stage where the guitars and stuff were, and then it was a bit like The Great Escape in reverse. Every time the lights went down between songs, 2 or 3 would nip out over the barrier into the audience. Brilliant. When it came to my turn, I think I was maybe like the 4th group or whatever it was, the lights came up, and Kenny Wheeler, who was well as Minder,
Aye.
see us, but he's never going to catch me. So I remember running and just doing a Superman dive, like hands out over the barrier into the crowd. Once you're in, you're in.
Sure.
So I think I missed a few songs.
I bet you joked about that though, because Kenny, I mean, he's an absolute gentleman,
Yeah.
isn't he? But I bet when you saw him again, you would have had a laugh about that, wouldn't you?
I don't think I've ever spoken to him about it.
But back in the day, he was a bit handy though, I bet.
Yeah, I think, yeah, definitely. He was an interesting character.
Did here's one for you. When I played Brighton Centre with the Libertines, right?
Fantastic.
And memory, mate, absolutely dream come true. One, obviously, because of the jam finished off.
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Two, it's pretty much Brighton's on my doorstep, and I managed to do that. And the dressing room I was in had a photo of Weller on the last gig they did.
Oh,
and there
brilliant.
was so many different dressing rooms. I can't think how many rooms they've got, dressing rooms in Brighton Centre. It just so happened the one that I was in was the one with a picture of
Oh,
Weller.
brilliant.
Remember?
Is it one of the three of them?
No, what the one with them, not the famous.
Yeah, no.
It was just a picture of him standing like silhouetted sort of thing, microphone, and like I think it was like a
The red
polka dotted
yeah,
shirt, wasn't it?
red with black polka dots.
Right, and
Yeah.
I remember seeing it. I was like, oh my god! I remember taking a photo and sending it to him, saying, "Look at that! Like, have all the dressing rooms." Because
Fantastic.
the other dressing rooms, I think it was stuff like, I think it was Coldplay. There was Biffy Clyro, all these other bands, and I just found it so strange that I was in this one with that photo. But I mean, if I could turn back time, I've often said 100%, and I believe in that. The older I've got, there, I'll tell you that. But I often say, if I could ever go back in time, I would love to have been at two things: the first ever gig they ever did together, and the last ever gig. Because I mean, we live in a world where it's so easy to go on YouTube now and watch it. Experience it through that, but I mean, I would love
not the same.
to. Of course, it isn't.
No,
of course, it isn't. It's like standing there looking at a gig for a phone, which baffles me how people do that all the time. It's different for yourself, Dale, because you're working, aren't you? But
yeah.
do you find gigs these days, so many people just stand there and there's no atmosphere, and people are just looking at a phone like that?
Yeah, and I've ended up
watching.
sometimes you end up watching the gig through the back of someone's phone. And one thing, and it's people might say, well, it's a bit rich for you considering you're taking pictures at gigs. But when I'm taking the picture, the camera's in front of my face, so nobody can see the screen.
Yeah.
So there's no light in front of someone's face from behind. Sorry, anyone who's behind me. Plus, some people, when they video, there might be. I've seen people at Hammersmith. They're at the back, and they put a little light on their phone, which is really bright when you're 2 foot from them. But they think that's going to light up the stage, which is 150 feet away, and it's like, why are you doing it? And I think part of it is now it's a thing of. It's not so much just enjoying the gig, but look at me. This is where I was. This is what I'm doing. It's like people taking pictures of their food. I've often said to my wife, if I ever go down that rabbit hole of taking pictures of my food, like have a word with me. Yeah. And I've been close to doing it when I was in Spain. Yeah. But it was something. Like a special birthday or a birthday cake or something you've had specially done, but
the gig ones has always been a bit of a pet hate of mine. But then again, I do understand it. I mean, I was always one of them people when the Oasis announcement about that, everyone knew it was the worst kept secret. Everyone knew that the flipping reunion was happening, and I was like in two minds. I thought it's just going to be a sea of phones, and I was actually quite wrong. Of course there was a load of people there, the youngsters who never experienced it the first time round were standing there with phones. But I mean, it was just people enjoying it, and for me, that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see. Going back in the time and just letting your hair down, enjoying yourself and all that. One of the worst cases I've ever seen. In my head, I think you were at this gig, Ocean Colour Scene at Hammersmith Apollo, and Paul Weller did a support slot. I think he did a special, like a special guest slot. I don't even think.
I remember him coming on stage with them, but not.
And he did. God, how long ago was this? I've got
actually, this rings a bell now.
2016, I think, 2015. Okay. I got the poster on my wall signed by the band, and it was like seated though at the front. And I remember, I'm sure it was Hammersmith Apollo. Yes, I'm pretty sure it was. And I remember this guy was in front of me, 3 rows in front, right, and he had an iPad. Oh, shit you not! He was standing there through the first 5-6 songs, recording it,
whole song,
and then they played. I can't think what song they were playing, and I stood up and I was in the aisle, And the woman went, excuse me, do you mind sitting down? I went, hold on. You got your man there filming every single song, and I'm enjoying myself, having a little bit of a dance, and you're telling me to sit down.
Yeah.
I said, catch yourself on a minute. And people were getting the right on with it because he was just literally standing there like that.
Just, and that's
weird, that though, isn't it?
I mean, some of the phones are almost the size of an iPad now. They're really big. Mate. I mean, the iPad Mini, sorry, a bit of an Apple boy, and then some of the big phones now. I mean, they're not like, ones that fit in your pocket anymore.
But that's mental for me. I always talk about that whenever people talk about phones, because that was like, or at gigs, but that was mental. You might as well be standing behind someone holding that, because it was just, I've never, ever.
And they're bright as well.
Mate, but I'm thinking to myself, what are you going to do with that? You're going to put it on YouTube and be like...
The sound's going to be crap. And
yeah, man, mental.
I remember once, sorry, changing it slightly, but I was at SeaWorld, which is a place I love because I love the animals. But I haven't been for a long time because I don't like the way they treat them. Anyway, there was a guy with an iPad in like in the splash zone seats, videoing like the show. And when the water comes over him, it is ice cold seawater.
Fucked it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. It's got to be ruined. And it's like, mate, you're in the wrong place. That's going to be ruined. But it was like a 12-inch iPad holding it up,
That's mad, isn't it?
I think that was the end of that. But
well, let's go back to you and your photos, though. So your first shoot you ever did was
the Jam,
when you snuck the camera in.
Oh, first gig that was. Yeah, sorry.
First gig.
Yeah.
When was the first one you actually was like able to go there? You were actually on the list to be like got a press pass and all that. Was that
not
Jam?
till I think it would have been the Jam. I was definitely seeing other bands, but first time I had a photo pass for the Jam was 1981. They did the full. Yeah.
Oh mate.
I'll tell you, it was really funny because I remember they did 4 nights in London, 2 at the Michael Sobel Sports Centre, and then 2 at Hammersmith Palais. And the first night, I had a blue short sleeve, not navy blue with yellow print Lonsdale sweatshirt on. And there was loads of Fred Perrys in the house, and Weller had they came out with the Lonsdales on.
Yeah.
And I'd never seen them wear them before, and I didn't know they were going to wear it.
Trendsetter.
Oh, mate. Anyway, next night, the room was like wall to wall Lonsdale, and Weller comes on in a Fred Perry. I can't remember what I wore the second night. But
you couldn't get them Lonsdale shirts that they were wearing, though. Yeah, you used to be able to get them in, I think it was Sports Direct and all that.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah,
you
probably.
Couldn't even get them ones now.
I used to go to Henry Mancini. Used to run the place. He was
yes,
footballer. I think they might play for Fulham actually.
Who?
Terry Mancini.
Terry Mancini. It might have been a
Henry
little
Mancini
bit
might be a composer.
Time, maybe.
Anyway, I'm sure that there was a sports shop. Lonsdale Sports was in Fulham Palace Road, which is not far.
Oh, of course it ain't. No, I know exactly where that is.
Yeah,
I've probably even been past it.
Yeah. So that's I remember going in there to buy it because that's where you had to get them.
So how did that go though? At the end, when you were developing the photos?
Well, I mean, the gig was really difficult because there was no pit. So literally, because I always had literally until the last 12 years ago, 13 years ago, I've had amateur equipment. It's never been my living. It's just really been. I always lucky I had a job that would have paid for me to allow me to do the photography. But I remember the gig. All it basically meant was I didn't have to sneak the stuff in. And I remember being up on the left-hand side of the room. It was so far away. The pictures were not great, really, to be honest, because so far away. So the first night I had a pass for 4 nights. Second night, I don't know why I didn't take a camera. I think I couldn't afford the film for every night.
You just went there as a punter.
Yeah, but I still had a pass. But anyway, so I went in the second night, and then the 2 nights at Hammersmith Palais, I could afford the film. Sounds really bad, doesn't it? But
not at all, mate.
Just couldn't afford the film. So the most I could ever afford was 4 rolls of film generally. Because it was like not just buying the film, you had to buy it and get it processed. Plus, it meant what made a nice change was I didn't have to have the film. I used to hide the film in my pants. I used to have one in the camera, and then in the little canisters.
One in the camera and one up your what?
No, one in the camera, 3 in my pants. And it used to come in a little plastic tub, little container for the film.
Right.
And I remember I had an old roll of film once, and I used to practice so I could actually, with my eyes shut, I could unload a roll of film, load a new one in with my eyes shut. I just used to practice doing this.
Yeah.
Obviously, had way too much free time.
I mean, I practice shuffling the deck of cards and put them in new deck order, but I mean, there's practicing.
In fact, one funny thing from years later, I had a book out and I wanted a quote from Rick Buckler, and he said,
God bless him.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, very sad. Lovely, what a lovely man. he put the quote he did for me was some of the best photographs to come out of a pair of underpants, because he knew, obviously they knew that I used to smuggle it in.
As well,
I know, because he did a serious one which I can't remember, and that was the funny one which I preferred. Yeah, so I used to sneak it in.
You got to be a bit of a face though around the gigs. I mean, people knew obviously the three lads on the stage.
Yeah,
but you were a bit of a face yourself, weren't you?
I wouldn't say not back in the time.
No, but I mean, like since you've brung your books out. And
yeah.
all that,
yeah. I mean, it's great. It is really nice. I mean, don't get me wrong. I went to see Weller in Margate, and then we went. It was such a great gig. And then Sunday, wasn't planning to go, but I had such a good time Friday. I managed to get a ticket for Sunday in Bedford.
Was that recently?
Yeah, just on the last tour.
Dreamlands they did, didn't they?
Yeah, I did that on the Friday.
Margate, what was that like? Good?
Yeah, great. It was
beautiful.
great.
Beautiful.
It's a great gig. It was just, and I probably knew 50 people in the front row. In fact, the security was saying to me, is there anyone you don't know? And it was, in fact, I was lucky because, I should mention this, but I had a pass for the first 3 songs, but in my little plastic pass holder, because the things always fall off me, and I like to keep them anyway.
You got your, yeah.
On the back of it was a Rifles one with AAA on it, and it had turned round. So when I went in the pit, the lady said, "Oh, normally because Miles Kane was on, and I was late. He'd already started. Normally it would have been first 3, then you're out."
He's brilliant as well.
Yeah, he's fantastic. So I'd walked in, and they said, "Oh no, you got AAA," even though I thought, "No, I haven't." Then it's like, "Oh no, it's the Rifles," because that was just on the back. So I didn't mention it, obviously.
You blagged it.
Yeah, but then I did. But then when Weller came on, I only stayed for the first 3 because I thought if they not that they catch me, but that was like when Claire, his manager, had said to me, like usual rules apply.
Yeah.
Which is like first 3 songs, no flash. That's fine. So I don't like to abuse it.
No,
anyway,
you're not that sort of person from what I've known you. Just you.
No, it's a difficult one with gigs because obviously I want to take photographs. That's what I'm there to do. I want to take as many as I can and from wherever I can, ideally. So often I'll ask for AAA, not to means to go in the dressing room, but it means you can move around the venue.
It's similar to the way you took some of me, where you're behind me
you can
and
go.
You get a different angle, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. And you'd see a different,
aspect.
Otherwise, because you wouldn't see the people in the audience. Like, what's great is when you can see the people's faces, that's fantastic, because obviously that's what you're seeing from the stage. But when you're in the pit or in the crowd, that's, you don't see the faces because everything's behind you. Sorry, they're all behind you.
Of course.
That makes sense. Sometimes people will tap me on the shoulder in the gig. And if I've got the big lens on, they're like 2 foot in front of me. It's like, you can't explain to them that they're too close for you to focus on them.
Yeah.
And it's dark, and I'm not using a flash, and so sometimes I just pretend to take it just to make it easier, because I don't have the argument or the conversation.
I've been with you before, and I can't think what gig it was now for the life of me, but someone went, take a photo of us, and you just literally turned around and you were talking to me and you clicked it like that. And I went, oh my God, I didn't even take one like that.
Yeah, thanks for that. No, but sometimes I think audience pictures are brilliant, but you've got to have the right lens. It's got to be the right,
of course it has.
And it's got to be light on them.
Yeah.
You can't use a flash. But I've had gigs where somebody's tapped me on the shoulder, and it's now the 5th time that they've done it. And it's like, mate, I took your photo the previous times. I'm not doing it this time, I checked the ticket, your name ain't on it.
What was it like, though, getting to know the band as well? I mean, obviously, you mentioned that lovely quote by Rick. I mean, that's something you'll take with you forever, isn't it? I mean, what a lovely thing to have. Yeah,
I mean, the thing is, and you'll notice yourself, is when you meet them, you can't behave like a fan, even though you are.
Yeah.
You have to suppress the fan at all costs. And I remember when I went to meet them that time, first time I met them properly, I met them after gigs, when they would sign stuff and they'd say hello, but it'd be, even with everybody else, which is fine, which was still brilliant, of course. But the first time I met them proper was when they were recording Absolute Beginners up in Air, which is George Martin's studios, which is, obviously the George Martin. And when I went up there, as I went in, George Martin walked out the lift. I went, hello, George. I thought, oh God, what are you saying? And he said, hello, young man, because obviously I was and he wasn't. But it was brilliant. But when I met them, they were really nice. And they just put me at ease straight away. And I remember they're in the stereo recording, so I'm in the studio, watching them record and taking a few pictures. And then Paul said, well, let's have a break. So Rick went off to play Space Invaders. He said, let's play Paul. We'll play doubles, you and me, against Kenny and Joe, the other security, the other minder.
Mate.
I'm thinking, I'm playing. For me, it's like my team playing in the European Cup final. I'm playing with my hero.
Yeah.
I was a good pool player at the time as well. Like, I used to play a lot for money and stuff. Yeah, 2-1. 2-1. So me and Paul won 2-1. And it's like that's been as big a moment as some of my teams. You know, my teams don't win many things, but it was that kind of moment. But they were really nice, and just treat me really well. And if someone's behaving like that, you have to behave normally. You can't behave. You know, you can't go. It's Paul Weller.
Do you know the way I always look at it is, they know I'm a fan. They know who isn't. Do you know what I mean? They know what the band means to me. So I'm always myself. Same as with whoever, and you're the same as that as well. I know you are, because we're just ourselves. Whereas imagine, as he said, if you were like, oh my god, and you're like, how unprofessional is that?
Well, just weird, if nothing else. I mean, you just got to be, But I think sometimes, I think you have to be yourself. Sometimes I have to tone it down a little bit. I'm sure you have the same. But
about that.
But you got to be. You still got to be your own personality, or have your own personality. But you've also got to be mindful of what you're doing. And there's some shoots that I do. I've been quite lucky. There's a guy I do some work for, and he manages quite a few lot of famous people. But you can't, like I did Frankie Toy. That sounds weird. I did shoots at Frankie Toy's house, photo shoot for him. Yeah, and we got there, and he's in the gym training. So I went with his missus to pick out his clothes.
He's got a gym in his house.
Well, he used to live on he doesn't live here now, but he was living near Newmarket, the racetrack, and it was like a ranch.
Yes. Yeah.
It was like a South Fork. And
he seemed like
he was brilliant. So he's in the gym still. So I've gone with his missus to pick out what clothes for him to wear, which just felt like you're like picking out for a kid because they're quite small. Mental. But he was great. And then I'm playing with his dog. He's got a German Shepherd. Mate. Playing with his dog in the garden, playing fetch with his dog, chatting with his daughter. And
he walks in.
Yeah, well, he was great. Yeah, and then we picked out the stuff for him to wear. Sorry, this is a bit of a detour, but things because what I'd learned.
Detoury.
I had
to.
I never even thought of that.
Brilliant.
And before I did the shoot, I had listened to his autobiography, like an audio book.
Yes,
and it was great because I didn't really obviously know he's a famous jockey and blah blah blah, but I didn't know anything about him really.
He's got a really good story, hasn't he?
Yeah, it was just his dad was a jockey. Didn't know that. And one of the things in the audiobook, it said that his dad had said to him, his dad had this expensive watch, which used to live in a safe, and I used to come out once a year. And he said to Frankie, if you ever win the Derby, I'll give you this watch. So obviously I listened to the whole story, and I thought, I'll ask him. Just I can only ask him. I say, I said to him, listen to the audiobook, which was fascinating. Not like sucking up, but I didn't know that much about you before. Just being honest. I said, it would be great if you wore your dad's watch in some of the pictures. It won't be obvious, but you'll know it was there, and I'll know. He said, that's a great idea. So he went and got the watch. So it's in some of the pictures. And we never mentioned it, never highlighted.
Do you remember what it was?
I can't remember. I'll have to look at the pictures. I can't remember what it was. But I never made a thing of it while I was doing the photographs.
You got one of the photos on your iPad?
Yeah, I've got one of him. I've got a couple of him. But it's just a really nice afternoon. And at the end of it, he said, some of the family came over. He said, come stay and have lunch with us. Mate. I had a beer with him, just chat. And it's just like...
That's perfect, though,
yeah,
isn't
it was great. It was just, he couldn't have been nicer to me. And I was already respectful to him. The shoot went well. I have one funny bit. In his hallway, there was a rocking horse. I said to him, how funny, it'd be great photo of you on the rocking horse with his baseball cap on backwards. Anyway, as he was getting off, his foot got caught in the stirrup and he nearly fell off it. And I said, I would have laughed if you had done, and I would have got the picture. But can you imagine, champion jockey falls off rocking horse. But he took me and showed me his like trophies and stuff. But he was like so down to earth, just brilliant, just a really nice guy.
He was the go-to racing, wasn't he? I remember I used to go to Epsom quite a bit, and whenever he was there, he'd always piss something. He was brilliant, mate.
Oh, fantastic! And he's just a really nice guy.
Seemed like a nice bloke.
Yeah, and
I've never
his
met
family
him,
were nice.
He always come across as an absolute gentleman.
Yeah, and so that's the thing, when you in those moments, you've got to behave professionally as you're there to do your job. And I don't think I've got a picture of him because I never asked. And I often don't. And sometimes if I've been at something like that, I did one with Karen Millen, and the lady from the company said, oh, can we get a photo of you together? And I hadn't asked. We'd been the whole day with her and her daughter and the dog and doing photos in the house. And I said, oh yeah, that's all right. She said, oh, no, of course it is. But I never asked. And I don't always ask. There's been a few like that I haven't asked. Because that's not professional. You're not there to do that. It's unprofessional. Somebody mentions it.
Yes.
It's fine, but that's not what you're there to get. You're not there for the
job,
selfie, you know. Yeah. Or Delphi, as I like to call them.
Delphi. Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
What I love about you, though, is you always capture a perfect moment. You know, there's some fantastic shots that you've taken off the Jam. some fantastic shots that you've taken off the rifles, Molotovs, loads of
And
bands.
you.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you for mentioning that. It's very kind of you. But there's one shot in particular that I even bought it off you, and it was a shot of Bruce and John.
Yeah, I know.
John Weller on the stage. And there was something about it. I remember when you posted it, and I just went, fuck, Dale, I need to buy that. I need to get that. And I remember getting it, and I've still got it pride of place on my wall.
Oh, thank you.
And that's all right. And I've actually got, in fact, I've got 2 bits of your work.
I've still got the receipt. Sorry.
No. Well, funny enough, I've actually got 2 bits of your artwork on my wall. I've got that one of Bruce and John, which, as I said, I don't know what it is. It's just something about it that I just think is beautiful. And I think it shows how much of a father figure he was to that band.
Yeah.
And I think you captured that perfectly because, you know, his arms on, in fact, I saw
Arms
it
on his
earlier
shoulder,
at my
innit?
mum's.
Yeah.
His arms on his shoulder, and Bruce is there with his bass, isn't it? And it was just a beautiful, beautiful shot. And I've actually got, I think I've got a Bruce Foxton signed playing card in the frame as well, and one of his picks.
Yeah.
But then I've got one of your, you did a shot of Weller on the piano.
Oh, with the
white
spotlight.
light.
Yeah.
Fuck me. And I ended up, I've got 2 of them. And do you remember, you gave me a goodie bag at one of yours.
Oh, yeah.
And then I won the raffle, didn't I?
Oh, yeah. Oh, good.
And the raffle was,
fixed, wasn't it?
well, I sold
That
that
wasn't-
of them for a few quid.
Oh,
but
did you?
I've still got them. Still got both. I've got one of them is on my wall in my mum's house, my bedroom in my mum's house. And the other one is at my house in Belfast that I'm waiting to put on the wall. But great shots, Dale. Right? It's
I'll
something
tell you
about,
what I think. Remember about both of them.
Yeah.
The Bruce one. The thing I love it as well is because, like you say, it's a father talking to his son, and the fact it's not Paul. You think everyone would expect it to be Paul, but it's not. And the fact that John's got his hand on Bruce's shoulder, talking
Beautiful
to him.
moment.
It was a sound check at the Rainbow. It was either the Rainbow. In fact, the first sound check I ever photographed them, I think.
Yeah?
I know. Hang on, no, it was just, it was. I think it was at the Rainbow 1980 sound check. I remember they let us in. It was like November, and I think it was cold outside. And John, come in. It was like maybe 30 kids. Oh, kids! I'm a young man then, but I looked about like one of the kids.
Still do.
Thank you. But it was and I love that bit about it. And it's sometimes when you share a picture, you know, you get a few likes.
a
It's
good
one of the ones
reaction.
that gets a huge amount of likes.
Yeah.
And it's because it's not the obvious shot of it, John and Paul, which would have been nice to have them as well. Don't get me wrong, but the fact it wasn't Paul, and the one with the spotlight.
Yeah.
I remember it was the last night of the tour, and I couldn't get a photo pass. So I took my little pocket camera, which is about the size of a phone.
And that's what you took it on?
Yeah, and I couldn't. Yeah, but because I've been to loads of gigs on the tour, because normally when you get a photo pass, it's usually first 3 songs.
Yeah.
That's the kind of the rule. And of course, Paul's never on piano in the first 3 songs.
It's normally towards the end, isn't it?
Yeah, or they'll be changing around in the set, but it's never like in the first 3. So sometimes you'd be better off not with the pass, but if you can get there early enough, get near the front with a little camera,
yeah,
because you then can shoot the whole gig, which is what I did at Bedford. So you get shots that you wouldn't have got otherwise. But I'd seen the shot in.
You've seen it before you've took it.
In my mind's eye. It's like, you know, sometimes you don't know.
You visualise it.
Yeah, sometimes I can see a picture in my mind before I've even left my house. I have the picture that I want to take in my head already. I did that with the Rifles when they did the Roundhouse, they did the live album.
Yeah.
I got the picture for the front. I was so chuffed to get the front cover. But I'd seen the picture in my head before I even left home to go to the gig. This is the picture I want to get with the curve of the room.
Yes.
You got obviously it used to be like trains used to come in and they used to turn them round, and then that's what it used to be, the building. That's why it's called the Roundhouse. Anyway, so I had that shot in my mind. But anyway, this one of Paul on the piano with the spotlight shining down from a long way off.
You just got Ben in the background slightly, haven't you?
But it was the picture I'd wanted for the whole tour. Anyway, I couldn't get a pass that night. But when I sent it to them, they said, "Oh, we love this. Can we share it on the social?" I said, "Of course. You know, you're welcome to share it." But it would have been better if I'd taken it on the proper camera.
I think it's perfect,
But
mate.
I like the fact it's. I know people say, you know, every picture tells a story, and sometimes it's true.
Was that Saturn's Pattern, that tour? 2017? 2018?
God. No, it might.
2016?
No, it was. No, I'll tell you what. It was 2015.
Was
hang
it-
on,
was
Kind
it
Revolution? That tour, Kind Revolution.
Oh, yes.
And the reason I have to think of sounds because I can't always remember what tour was what.
So that was that 16?
2015. 2015.
Because I remember he brung
2016.
Saturn's Pattern out, didn't he? Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
Beautiful with
Yeah.
White Sky, and then Kind Revolution, and then he done Soul Searchers or something. Soul.
No, that was off on Sunset, wasn't it? I know that was the
No, there was one in between.
Gravity. What was that album? God, True Meanings.
Yes, that's the one I'm on about.
Beautiful album. No, it was before that.
But you know, on Sunset,
Yeah.
I'm on that album.
Oh, are you?
Come on, you know.
No, I didn't know. What track are you on?
Oh, I hate telling people about this, but anyway.
Shall I get comfy?
Please do. No, so I remember being in the studio one day when he was recording that, and they done the song. No, I'm not that guy. You know, I'm not that guy at all.
I'm only joking.
And they were recording Old Father Time.
Oh, yeah.
And I
Beautiful
think
song.
Charles said, "Oh, we could do some claps here." And Paul looked at me and said, "Magic." And I went,
No.
"Fuck off," like that. I was thinking, not a chance. And I remember being there, and it was me, Paul, Stan, all had the headphones on, standing by this mic, and done the clapping. And I thought nothing of it. And that is the honest truth. I just thought, what a moment for me to have, you know. And I've shared some amazing moments with Paul, as have you. You know, he's just an absolute gentleman.
Yeah, brilliant.
We've been so lucky to have been in his circle, and I thank him
Hey,
for everything.
Magic Circle.
There you go.
Sorry.
Get him in early. And I remember when he sent me a text one morning, and all I saw was there was a picture, but I didn't open the picture straight away. It was early morning. I just woken up, and it said "Fame at Last," and I thought, "What's this?" And I clicked on it, and it was a picture of the credits, and my name was on it. It said Magic Mod Claps on Old Father
Brilliant.
Time, and I was like, do you know what? He didn't have to do that, and he's made that. I can't even say that's a dream come true, because that is way beyond any sort of dream I could ever have had. And it ended up, I'm sure that album went to #1 as well.
Fantastic album.
It's
So him in the green leather seat with the green like turquoise.
no. It's the pinky on Sunset,
yeah,
like pink
sorry,
and purple. It just says on
sorry.
Sunset on it. And
I'm terrible for remembering tracks off.
no,
albums. If you
I'm
send me back to a certain point, I'll tell you what track I'm order. But
aye,
after that,
same as that. But it's like this on Sunset album, beautiful. And do you know what I mean? Like what a beautiful moment for me. You know, sorry to talk about myself. You know,
but it's nice to see your name on something. I mean,
100%, Dale, 100%. And we mentioned it. You took some lovely photos of me when. I think that was a last minute thing, wasn't it? I think then I messaged you the day before and said, "What are you doing tomorrow?" I said, "Why?"
I can't
And
remember.
I'm at Kentish Town with Pete Doherty. Do you want to pass? I think, and you're like 100%.
That was a great night.
Brilliant, mate.
I remember his dogs. Do you remember his 2 huskies?
Yes.
Massive.
They were in our room, weren't they? So we were having a photo shoot.
Your room, to be fair.
Yeah, but you were there with me. You were there. It was both of our rooms. Your stuff was in it as well. You know, it's lovely to share that moment with you, Dale. And I remember. Do you remember my friend was there as well, Mike Doby? He was there.
Yes.
God bless him.
He died, didn't he?
Yes, he did. God bless him.
Sorry,
but
he was a
was.
guitarist.
Yeah, he was a singer as well.
I've never met him. I don't think it's the only
You
time
met
I ever
him. I think that was the first time you met him. Yeah,
it was. Yeah,
and I think we were all in there.
was he with his wife?
Yes,
I think so.
yeah.
Yeah,
Pauline was there, and I think we were all in this dressing room, and you did that shot of me with the mirror and my Fulham flag, and next minute you know, door coming, and the dogs come in, didn't they? And then straight after that, Pete come in, and he's a giant of a man, isn't he?
Yeah,
but and you took a lovely shot of us as well.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
that's class.
He was nice. I mean, again,
he's a gentleman.
I wasn't. I mean, I hadn't been a big. I hadn't not that. I've gone on to become a bigger fan of those because I didn't know their stuff. You know, people just assume you know everything, but you don't. You listen to what you listen to, and
it's great to learn that, though, isn't it? And after that, I mean, that gig for me was brilliant because
it
was the last one of the tour as well. I mean, the tour was brilliant, but you know, similar to what you said, I had a vision in my head of what I wanted, and I wanted a bit where the lights were up, and I think I said I would like to try and get a shot with the crowd. I'm sure you said try and get the lights up. Yeah. Do you remember?
No, but I might have.
I think you said at one point.
I would often say that to people because
try and say to them,
knowing
get
that
the
the
lights
audience
up
are in the dark unless the lights are on them.
And I remember being on the stage and I just said, "Oh, can I have a moment here? Do you mind having the lights up?" I remember they had the lights up, and I remember the next day you sent me this photo, and I was like, "Holy fuck!" For me, it's still one of the best photos ever. And
thank you.
No, but I'm always sort of sharing that, Del, because for me, you know, like I'm a young lad from a fucking council estate doing magic in front of 6-7 people. Next thing you know, I'm supporting. Yeah, I ain't got much bigger, mate. Let me tell you that. But next thing you know, I'm in Kentish Town Forum supporting a hero of mine who I had posters of on the wall, and I've got a shot like that. Like that. Yeah. That's Yeah, it chokes me up even thinking about it, because it's just it's a beautiful thing. And I mean, if I didn't have that photo, you know, what a lovely thing for you as well, to know that you've took some amazing photos for people and they can relive that moment. Because whenever I look at that photo, it takes me straight back to that moment, you know. And for me, that's your magic, isn't it? You know, that you can take these photos, the gig photos that you've done of the Jam, the rifles, as I say, and people can look at them and go back to that moment.
Yeah,
that must be beautiful. Have you ever thought about it like that?
A little bit. I kind of think of it as, you know, like a sports photographer, you'll see something like somebody, like they'll break the tape when they're winning, just won the 100 metres at the Olympics.
Yes.
I sometimes think of gig photos a bit like that. It's just that moment. Without sounding like song, One Moment in Time. Is that Whitney Houston?
Yeah, not my cup of tea, that.
But it's just, it is a moment, because it's a still image, unlike a video, which shows a lot more, or a different way. But it's just that one moment.
Of course. And
sometimes, you know, I look at pictures, whatever it might be of, it's just that moment in time, and that often that moment is never repeated. So in some ways like that, it is special.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
And a band that I mean, as I said, we've been friends for years, Del, and I remember several years ago seeing you talking about a band for the first time in the Molotovs. I remember you took a shot of them in the jackets, like the city jackets, so to speak, like the Jam did. That was one of your shots, wasn't it? They were looking up, and you were shooting down on them.
Yeah, I'll tell you what happened. Sorry.
Yeah, no, go on.
Yeah,
of course not.
They were doing a battle of the bands in Twickenham, and shall I tell you how I kind of got into them? Or
please do, because I'd love to.
Well, it was a friend of mine, and she said to me, "You've got to check out this all-girl band, because they'd wear boating blazers." She's seen them at Millwall, playing outside Millwall, and I looked at the pictures and I thought, "I'm sure it's two girls and a boy."
Yeah.
She said, "No, it's an all-girl band." Anyway, she said they look great. So I started messaging them on Instagram. I kind of thought to myself, hang on, they look quite young. You've got to be careful of these things. So I said, can I speak to your mum and dad almost? And it was the mum. I was talking like Olivia, which is Matthew and Izzy, a brother and sister.
Yes.
And Ice was the drummer, who's no longer with them, sadly. I was messaging her. And so she said, no, it's fine, you know. And then we arranged to have a call with them about doing some photos possibly. And well, I spoke to Simon, who's the dad, and the first, he said to me, I've got one of your books. So straight away, I didn't have to kind of introduce myself much.
That's the intro, isn't it?
It was like 20 minutes of him asking me about the Jam.
Brilliant.
It was like the 20 minutes of the conversation. And I went and saw him at the Half Moon. I remember it was Halloween.
Putney.
Yeah. Halloween 2021. And it was the first time I'd seen him. And Matthew was 13 at the time. And they all had boating blazers. And I remember, because his voice hadn't broken, and he was... Got a bit more guitar in the monitor, please, Mr. Soundman. Very polite. They were really polite. Had a nice chat with them all. They were really nice. Took some photos. Anyway, so I started going to see them, and we become friends with the family and the band. Anyway, so they were doing Battle of the Bands in Twickenham, and they wore the boating blazers. They're getting the same year, because Matthew was still 13. He's short now. He's taller than me, but definitely quite short then. And at the end of the gig, the lights came up, and I was up in the balcony. And they were packing their stuff away, and I just thought, with the light in the room, it could be a great shot. So I got them to put the jackets back on, come and stand in front of me, and I got a couple of photos with them with their family, and then just the band on their own together. And it was, I mean, obviously they've aged, not aged, they've grown up. That's the wrong word, but they've grown up so much since then.
Because that photo come up on your. Did you share it recently, that photo or something?
I don't remember.
I think it was on your Instagram maybe or something.
No, I saw it. But I used to do Molotovs Monday, and because I haven't caught up with all the photos I've taken of them, because I've taken so many of them. I think I've seen them, I think it's 153 times.
Jesus.
It's in 40. I don't even like them. No. They're amazing. And they do. And I don't get, unfortunately, that's going to drop off and off, because they're now travelling around the world in places, whereas before they lived in Putney. So they're not like pretty Putney and Wandsworth, so they're really close to me. So, and they were at school, so a lot of the gigs were near to home.
Yeah.
So I could see them a lot, but obviously they're travelling. I've got responsibility, obviously, with the pup. Can't always go to everything. Yeah, but they've just been a great band. I'm so pleased to see them.
Seems like they've really hit the ground running. And
yeah, well, Matthew's a good. I mean, well, not just Matthew and Izzy. They're talented. And I don't know about you, but when you're a fan of the band, it's one thing. But when you become friends, I'm fiercely loyal, and And you have to be careful sometimes because you see somebody write something crappy about them.
Yes, yeah.
Not often, but you see some crap on social media, and it's like, mate, you don't know them, you don't know what you're talking about. And it's easy to get into it, but sometimes you just you know what?
Switch off, didn't you?
Yeah, you just got to ignore them most of the time. But sometimes you'll say something, but because people don't know what they're talking about, that's the worst bit. But you see it with, I think, of football fans. A fan would slate a player,
Of course he would.
watching him at a match, but if that player walked down the road,
Yeah.
they'd be straight over. Oh, so and so, can I have a selfie with you? Can I have your autograph? But they'd be slagging them off the next game. So that's the bit I don't like. It's too false. Anyway, but I've got a lot of time for them, and
No, they seem lovely, cracking. I mean,
spent
I've
a lot of time with them. So
spoke to Matthew and Izzy a few times over the course of a few years, and they just seem like two lovely people, you know. And it seems like good luck to them. I mean, I saw they supported Young Blood. I believe it is. Again, I think his name's Dom, isn't it? I think they.
I don't know his real name.
Sure,
I couldn't go to any of those,
No,
unfortunately.
it's not. But,
because there was gigs around the country, but the ones
Yeah.
I could have got, I had things already like the nights I could have got to.
okay.
I couldn't, but
I mean, that must have been amazing for them. But they seem like that sort of band that could do it. They could do it on a Tuesday, you know, in front of 40 people, and then they can do it on a Friday night at an arena in front of 20, 25, 30,000. I mean, that is amazing.
And because it
Good luck to them.
good music, you know, and the energy translates. Sometimes it's hard when you see. I remember seeing the Stripes, who I loved, supporting the Arctic Monkeys at Earl's Court, and they looked a bit lost on the stage. But then I've seen them in like little venues.
The Irish lads. The
Yeah,
Stripes. Yes, I remember them.
Great band. I saw them. Fun enough, I saw them 57 times as well. And then
remember
like,
them, yeah.
but they were brilliant, and I got to travel around. But I didn't really know them so well because they were young lads, and you know, you want to leave them. There was young girls at the gig. They want to talk to them, or not inappropriately young girls, but they would want to obviously talk to them, and I'd leave them to it, you know.
Yeah.
But I ended up being more friends with families
Yes.
because, you know, obviously I was older than them.
Wasn't one of their dads the manager?
Yeah, Niall. What a lovely fella.
That's it.
Niall.
Yes.
Yeah, Niall Walsh.
That's it, because what was his son?
Evan was the drummer.
That's it. Evan. Then you had Josh, didn't you? Then did stuff with Paul as well, didn't he? They were lovely lads. Because I saw him at Shepherd's Bush first time.
Yeah,
you were probably there.
Yeah, I was. I saw them a lot. They were great. But I remember going to see them in Amsterdam, like early on in Holland. They played in Rotterdam and Amsterdam, and because the mum Noelle which is Ross the singer's mum, she couldn't travel because she had other kids.
Yeah.
So she couldn't go. So I would be chatting with her, telling her how the gig went, and you know, just
what a great band though.
Yeah, they were just good lads.
I was in London one day, and one of them got my number. I don't know how it happened. They either got my number or my email, and they said, "Oh, the lads have been watching your stuff on the tour bus. Do you want to come and meet them and do some tricks?" And I was like, "Well, this is cool,
fantastic."
I remember meeting them at Shepherd's Bush, watched the gig. I did tricks to them before the show, completely spun their nut, and then they went out and they were like, "Oh Jesus, we got to go and do a show now." Yeah, that was Irish, yeah. And
but they were just so talented.
Yeah, mate, they were class, beautiful souls, absolute beauty. And as you say, when you see beautiful people doing so well in life, it's amazing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, you want to see nice people get on in life.
That's what I mean.
I think it was what was nice for them was it's very difficult with bands. You might say if you're a young band, you might want a young audience, but you don't get to choose. Unfortunately, you could be if you was a mod band. You're in your late teens, you might have an audience of guys in their 50s. You know, it looks like a cab driver's convention, but you don't get to choose that.
No.
But then there was a lot of young fans, and I used to feel not awkward sometimes, but because there'd be like young, you know, girls at the front, and you kind of keep out of the way, obviously. But that's what they wanted. And why not?
Oh, fucking Angel Eyes. That was my favourite song.
You know that.
I remember
Angel Eyes from Lee Van Cleef is. From the Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
Good, Bad, the Ugly. Yes. Is that what that's based on?
That's what they call them. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was in
no Lee Van Cleef. That's even in the lyric. But that's what you. I
haven't spoken to it for so long. I haven't listened to it for so long, man. But I remember being in the on the balcony bit, and they went, "Oh, this one's Angel Eyes. This one's especially for the Magic Mod." I was like,
"Oh, nice.
Fucking yes, lads. What a gig. What you got coming up then, Del?"
I'm not actually nothing major lined up at the moment. Which is not a bad thing.
It ain't, mate. It's good to relax. I mean, you're always about gigs and all that.
Yeah, it's trying to catch up with the stuff.
You're a dog walker now, mate.
Dog walker, mate. Yeah, definitely. Best thing that ever happened.
Apart from meeting me.
Apart from meeting you. But fun enough, I was at a place on Friday. I went to a comedy show. It's called The Horton in Epsom.
Yeah.
Great comedians, but the room, it's like it was an old hospital,
Yeah.
psychiatric hospital apparently, and it's been all redone up and everything. And they had an exhibition going on at the time, and one of my best friends, Viv Philpott, she's done these like Native American rugs that take her years to make, and she had one there. And there was like paintings and different bits of art. I just thought, what a beautiful space. And part where the bar is like a stained glass window behind. There's a pulpit behind. So I don't know whether that was like part of the chapel or something at the hospital. But it's a really nice location. So I'm going to contact him this week and say, is there any chance of?
Listen,
might you be interested in an exhibition of a local boy?
Listen, get it happening, and I'll come down, mate.
Yeah, no, it'd be great. I mean, I've been lucky enough to do a few little things like that.
I've been to a couple.
Yeah,
it's always been a good night, mate.
And it's nice when you get to. I mean, the first one I ever did, we got to meet. It was in a place called Tapestry, which is opposite Ronnie Scott's.
Yes.
Or just on the same side as Ronnie Scott's, opposite Bar Italia, our favourite coffee shop, and second favourite coffee shop. And the guys were great. They laid on everything for me. We basically had 20 pictures hanging up on the wall. That sounds like a song as well. And it was like free entry, and we laid on all the booze and snacks, which cost us a fortune. I think they nearly drank everything the first night. So I had to go back to like the cash and carry the next night, and I wasn't drinking either. Anyway, we had 5 nights. Yeah, 5 nights it was, and we had 600 people in the 5 nights. And it was. I mean, it's amazing what people will attend for a free drink. And
mate, I tell you what, you're lucky I didn't come to that. You would have been skinned.
Well, yeah, I think I was skinned. But it went really well, and I got to meet people I'd never met before. So back in the day, I think there were some people I remember that first night at the Sobel. As I walked up, I've seen a few fans that I recognised, or people knew me, and they knelt down in the snow and they were going like that to me, and I was like, "Stop all that nonsense." But there's loads of people that I never met, or I didn't know at gigs, who I've met since. And also, it's not like somebody might say, "Oh, I spoke to you in 1980," and it's like, mate, it's 50 years later.
You're not going
to.
look
the same. Were you wearing? No, not wearing. Neither of us are wearing the same clothes, and we don't look the same. So, but it's nice when people. It's nice that it means something to them. When I went to Saw Weller in Bedford the other week, a guy stopped me as I was walking through to the front with a little camera, as I said, and he was with his son and daughter, probably in their like late 20s, maybe 30. And he said, "Tell them your story," and it was like,
I mean, did they have a spare 3 hours then?
Well, yeah, exactly. I thought there's no comfy chairs. So I said, "You tell it." I said, "I'll tell you what, you tell it.
I'll fill in the gaps.
You have my permission to embellish it as much as you want. If you get it wrong, I'll tell you." I thought I did, because bear in mind there were people around us.
Yeah,
it was like 20 people around, and it's like you could sound like a bit of a dick if you start, No. So I didn't. In the end, I didn't say anything because I just thought there's times for that.
Of course there is, yeah.
And it's even become. You won't want to believe this, but it's not something I mention anymore unless somebody talks about it. Of course, I'm fiercely proud of it.
Yeah,
happy to talk about it. But even the last place I worked, I remember. I was working, and my new boss had worked together at Marks and Spencer's, and this is working at B&Q. So on first day, down in the head office in Southampton, and he started telling me about my photography. I said, "Listen, no offence, but do you mind if we don't? Because this is a brand new job for me. I don't know what I'm doing yet with this. I'm happy to be the new guy and learn this job. If it comes up in conversation later, then fine." And I remember, like 5 years later, I was in the car in France, and my boss mentioned something about it. And then all the other guys in the car were saying, "Hang on, why have you never?" Asking me about stuff, and I said, "Why have you never told us all this?" I said, "Because it wasn't the natural thing to do." And I remember one gig, there was a band, a great photographer, Dave Coombs, a friend of mine, was telling this band, he said, "Oh, Derek photographed the Jam," and they were like, "Yeah," and it was like, "Hang on, I haven't said anything about it, and I feel embarrassed. I feel a bit foolish, and I haven't even mentioned it." So if it comes up, like I said, 10 minutes ago, then great, but it's not something I need to mention because it'd be just weird, isn't it? But it's nice.
Something you're proud of, though. Very proud of.
Oh, definitely. I remember I was at a Rifles gig. I was about to leave. 2 young lads, they must have been about 16, 17, Jam t-shirts on. It's up in Nottingham. I was leaving. I wanted to get back home. It's been a long day, but they were really interested in it, and so I stopped and chatted to them for as long as they wanted me to, because they were just good 2 young lads. I'm not saying like I was doing them a favour. I don't mean like that at all.
But it's nice that you got to
they
tell
appreciated
them the experiences
chatting to me, and I appreciate the fact they were interested. So anyway.
Well, listen, that's why I got you on, because I love your story, mate, and I love talking to you, and it was good. It's another good way of meeting you as well, mate. But Thank you very much for coming on. I've really enjoyed chatting to you, Dale.
Thanks a lot.
It's an absolute pleasure to see you. You're looking well, man. Honestly.
And you. Cheers.
Thank you very much, man.